Hurricane Sally. It's not really spinning. So Wilhelm Reich, he made a cloudbuster, and he made it rain in some drought place. He was around during that time, and it started raining after a while, and he was arrested immediately after that by the FDA, and he was given some made up bullshit charge, uh, like tax evasion type thing, and some technicality, and he discovered that Orgone cured cancer, and he was curing cancer in laboratory rats, and he was doing it for free, and he was putting people in these boxes, and he was curing people with cancer too. And after they arrested him, the feds, they destroyed all his equipment. They burned all his books. They arrested him for something else and not related, and while for a year I think, and 7 months into it or something like that, like a month or a little while before he was released, he suddenly died in prison. And so that right there tells you that that guy was onto something. It does have a little eye. But it's not as bad as it could have been. It was out there in open water for at least a day or two. It actually crept around Florida. It crept up on Florida and went all the way around and hugged all the corner, and then it came out into the water. It tried to organize. That's when I noticed it. I turned on my infrared light on my bubble. It's already pointed this way, so it hit the bottom of it, and it stopped it from really organizing. And plus, this cold front is helping to push it. I know this guy, a physicist named Mike Emery, and he has actually a couple of videos on YouTube about how to make a orgone bubble, and he explains how to do it and the physics of it too. I mean, he has a lot of written papers that are very interesting, and a lot of essays, and he writes for like schools and stuff. So they figured out, him and his friends figured out about the Tesla coil, the high frequency violet ray facial wand, and you connect it to Orgone that you custom make, using like Shungite Elite and Dometaceous Earth and natural honey and your own DNA and stuff like that. It sounds like witchcraft, but it's not. It's physics, and it really works. It cures cancer. It balances all of everything that's out of balance, including storms if you know how to aim it and stuff like this. So this is real stuff. (3 o'clock a.m.) almost. Now the shape of the orgone is really important too. A shape that I found is really well suited for broadcasting is a pine cone. Now that's not just coincidence that your pineal gland is in the shape of a pine cone. That shape is talked about a lot. So orgone made from resin in latex molds for baking and stuff like that. They sell some that are pine cones, and those work really well. They're very small. I think the rule for orgone is 15 inches at the most in any direction, no matter what shape. But you use a flower pot also for if you're going to use cement instead of resin. I've used both before, but mine is cement. The Cloudbuster is cement, and then I have a top piece that's selenite, which completes the higher frequency. There's two frequencies: the orgone with the resin, or the cement. Both that have a lower frequency that still works. But whenever you use a selenite for the top piece, and you have the wand going through both of them, it creates a higher frequency, and they balance each other out to where it makes it more powerful. And it broadcasts in the air, like in the shape of the pine cone, for instance. And if you could imagine like a pattern, like the pine cone pattern going out broadcasted out into the air. You can't see it, but it's a healing frequency, and it also deters any kind of natural disaster or a storm, that especially if they're man-made, like these ones lately have been. And yes, they can do that. They can modify the weather and make hurricanes and create panic, create a tragedy to where they can come in and they can steal kids. They could jack up the prices. The effects for them are astronomical. What they can do with it during a disaster, and anyway, it goes very deep. But this right here is the least I can do to help. It's still gonna rain and all that, but close to me, the rain that I get is very minimal, and the power hasn't gone out. But I could also push them away, and I could also make them minimal. Like the last one that went through, and it didn't even rain here. Thanks. I'll keep you posted.